So, in the early history of the Bible before the New, the Sabbath was a day of welcoming rest from labor, and welcoming rest of labor and congregational solemn worship in the sanctuary of God. Now, Sabbath was intended to be a blessing and not a burden, a weekly sign and time to remember that the Lord lived with his people, and he dwelt with them. At that time, it was among the tabernacle, among the temple. When they wanted to seek the presence of God, they sought it out in even a physical place. They're like, the Ark of the Covenant, God's throne, Yahweh's throne is here, and I'm going to take this time to rest, reflect, and spend time with Yahweh, my Father, with God. And it showed that God wanted his people to draw near to him, and he wanted an even closer relationship with them and them to himself. I love Psalm 46, verse 10. I feel like it really embodies almost so much of what Sabbath might have meant to the early Israelites and the Jews. And it says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations, and I will be exalted among the earth." So I asked myself this question late last night. So how do the ancient Israelites describe the Sabbath in a couple sentences? Like if I were to put myself in their shoes, how would I describe this day that is supposed to be holy and set apart for God? I would describe it as a day of remembering that God is in control and is their Redeemer, especially their Redeemer from Egypt. He saved them physically. If you guys know the story of Israel being brought out from Egypt, they were under slavery, they were under torment, they were under this terrible oppression, yet God made a way, opened the Red Sea, and then so much more through the wilderness, and made a way for them. He was their Redeemer. He redeemed them back to himself, gave them freedom. And so there was this physical redemption that they were to recall on and remember, and like, oh wow, God is there. He's there for me. He's good. That's part of his character, reflecting on his character. And they took this day to just commune with him and be intentional with him. But as the Israelites knew, there was still another need. There was a need of redemption from in the spiritual realm. They needed redemption because they were not perfect. And so now with that really brief backstory on Sabbath, which could keep going on and on, you could keep going into about like some reasons they started celebrating it. We could go into the Ten Commandments. Anybody remember the commandment that's keep the Sabbath? You guys remember that one? Which one's that one? 4. Sorry, I threw it up accidentally. It was oops. And so we could go into all this. We can go into how it started to change and how they started to pile on different laws on top of the Sabbath, which you see come into conflict with Christ in the New Testament, where he's like, "Whoa, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys are just." The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. He's like, what are you guys doing? And we can go into that. But I want to go into this next question, which is, what is Sabbath and its purpose for a Christian? Paul considered Sabbath to be a shadow, with Christ himself being the reality of that shadow. In Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 through 17. Sorry, I love tracing themes through the Bible. I think it's so cool seeing these themes of Sabbath that started from chapter 2 of Genesis, just slowly go through the Bible and seeing how it was made for man and how it pertains to us today. It's just so cool. So I want to read this. It says, "Therefore let no one pass judgment on you in questions of food and of drink, or with regard to the festival, or a new moon, or a Sabbath. These are a shadow of the things to come, but substance belongs to Christ." Jesus is the culmination. He's the rest and the redemptive hope that the Israelites were waiting for and trusting in. Not only were they taking this day of the week to rest and reflect on God, but they were also thinking, wow, I need union with God. I need oneness with God, and I can't achieve that. But Jesus came, Jesus lived a perfect life, and he helped us be able to live and bridge that gap and live in union with God. Not only is Israel redeemed physically from Egypt, but spiritually through Christ. And then we read in Hebrews chapter 4, it's pretty much the whole chapter, but the author of Hebrews talks about how we as Gentiles are invited into this Sabbath, this rest. And it says, "So then, there remains